This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com. Not much wrestling news today. SmackDown rating was down to a 0.5. So I posted an interview earlier with Casey O'Connor, former Smoky Mountain Wrestling behind the scenes worker, pretty much the only office worker of Smoky Mountain Wrestling, according to his shoot interview. Was Jim Cornette's right hand man until Cornette blew up and smashed his car with a baseball bat. Eventually, supposedly had to pay around $3,000 in a settlement to him. But he was talking about how bad WCW's business was in the fall of '93 as far as attendance. So I decided I would look it up in the Observer what WCW's attendance was in the fall of '93, and I was a fan of it in the fall of '93. But let's get into it for all you geeks like me that like to know this type of stuff. So I'm going to do September, October, and November of '93. WCW had a main event taping in Gainesville, Georgia, September 13th, '93. The main event was Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair and Arn Anderson versus Harlem Heat and Sid Vicious. Attendance was 1,500. Fall Brawl, September 19th, '93. The main event was Rick Rude versus Ric Flair from Houston, Texas. They had 4,500 fans. Not too bad. This is horrible. September 21st, they were in Kennesaw, Georgia, with Tex Slazenger and Shanghai Pierce versus Keith Cole and Johnny B. Bad. 42 fans. Which I'm guessing this must have been more of a WCW power plant show because they were back in Kennesaw, Georgia on September 28th, featuring Terry Taylor, Jungle Jim Steele, The Gambler, Buddy Lee Parker, Bobby Eaton, and Michael P.S. Hayes, and only had 58 fans. They had a Saturday night taping featuring Ric Flair, Johnny B. Bad, Paul Orndorff, the Nasty Boys, Sam Houston, Bobby Eaton, Cactus Jack, Ricky Steamboat, and Vader. 780 people. It was a free show. This is sad. October 3rd, they were at the Omni in Atlanta, the major arena, with only 800 fans. Ice Train beat Dick Slater. Arn Anderson beat Jim Neidhart. Nasty Boys beat Scorpio and Bagwell. Rick Steamboat defeated Paul Orndorff. Dustin Rhodes and Shockmaster beat Harlem Heat. Sting beat Sid Vicious, and Rick Rude beat Ric Flair. Ric Flair, obviously, not a big draw on that one. October 5th, WCW Saturday Night free show again, 780 fans. Now, no wonder they're not drawing at the Omni if people can see these guys free on Saturday night tapings. Back in Kennesaw, Georgia, up a little bit, 113 fans featuring Tom Zink beating Terry Taylor. Ice Train was on this one. Michael Hayes was on this one. Max Payne beat Brad Armstrong. Lord Steven Regal beat Johnny B. Bad. Shanghai Pierce and Tex Slazenger were also on this one. Only 600 people in Venice, Indiana, October the 6th, featuring Eric Watts, Jim Neidhart, Davey Boy Smith, Brian Pillman, Johnny B. Bad, and Steve Regal. Back at Center Sage, October 11th, again, filled it up with freebies. Sid Vicious beat Awesome Kong. I wonder who was Awesome Kong. Back in Kennesaw, Georgia, again, this must be the power plant show. 60 people. And the Equalizer was on that show. Terry Taylor, the Gambler, Michael P.S. Hayes, Buddy Lee Parker. Yeah, it's safe to say these Kennesaw, Georgia ones are power plant shows. October the 16th, my birthday in '93, 1,200 people in Kansas City, Kansas, featuring Two Cold Scorpio and Bagwell getting beat by the Nasty Boys. Ron Simmons beat Paul Orndorff. Simmons was never really a draw in WCW. Steve Regal beat Dustin Rhodes. Rick Rude beat Ricky Steamboat. Sting beat Sid Vicious. They were in Sedalia, Missouri. 2,000 people sold out for that one. Dustin Rhodes beat Rick Rude in the main event. Sid Vicious beat Ron Simmons. In a non-title match, Sting and Ricky Steamboat beat the Nasty Boys. This is sad. October 22nd, Johnson City, Tennessee. Only 100 people were there for a show that featured Big Van Vader, Cactus Jack, Arn Anderson, Ricky Rude, Sting and Ric Flair, Brian Pillman, Harlem Heat. That's horrible, only 100 fans. They did a bit better on the UK trip in 93. This is the one where there was that stabbing incident with Sting and Arn Anderson. Cardiff, Wales, October 26th, 3,000 people. Davey Boy Smith beat Vader in the main event. October 27th, Blackburn, England, 1,500 people. Vader lost to Davey Boy Smith in the main event. Their best crowd of this tour, the 30th in London, England. Sting beat Rick Rude and Davey Boy Smith beat Big Man Vader. Seems to be the same matches on all of these. They went to Germany November 2nd, 2,000 people. Tag team match here. Sting and Davey Boy Smith beat Vader and Rick Rude. Back for this seemingly power plant show in Kennesaw, Georgia. 57 people. November 2nd. Brad Armstrong beat Tommy Rich. I guess this was beyond the days of Tommy Rich being a draw in Georgia. Terry Taylor and Robbie Walker lost to Texas Lassinger and Shanghai Pierce. Buddy Lee Parker beat Craig Pittman. And I put this one in as bonus because I was at this one, WWE in Ottawa, Ontario. 4,100. So WWE was doing better in 93, even though I do believe WCW was a better product this time in 93. This was a pretty crappy show. I remember it. Even being a huge fan back then, this was a pretty shitty show overall. Owen Hart beat Johnny Polo, which was interesting because at this time, Johnny Polo was only a manager. And not a lot of people knew he also wrestled. So this was like a random unadvertised match. I remember being in the crowd. Everyone was shocked that Johnny Polo was actually wrestling. The Ray Apollo Crappy Doink the Clown beat Bastion Booger. Again, this was a shitty time in WWE. The Steiner brothers beat the Quebecers with Johnny Polo as the manager. I remember that was a pretty boring match overall. Razor Ramon beat Diesel. The Head Shrinkers beat the Smoking Guns. I remember that the one interesting thing about this was the Head Shrinkers were cheered over the Smoking Guns. This was the time that people were starting to get sick over baby faces. Because I remember in this match, when the baby faces do the cheers and the heels do the cheers from the corners, the Head Shrinkers were actually winning. In a midget match, Tiger Jackson beat Little Louie, and Tiger Jackson was playing Dink at this time. The Undertaker beat Yokozuna. Now, I remember this was a DQ, and this match only lasted about 5 minutes. I remember people were really pissed off. And this was a DQ due to salt in the eyes from Mr. Fuji. The last one of WCW, Jacksonville, Florida. 1,000 fans, November the 28th. Featuring Rick Rude defeating Ricky Steamboat in the main event. Dusty Rhodes beat Paul Orndorff. Steve Austin did a no contest with Brian Pillman. Ric Flair beat Harley Race. Holy shit. Harley Race wrestled on this one. 1,000 fans. I guess Casey O'Connor was right. WCW wasn't doing smash business in the fall of 93. So there you go. Piper's doing well. Yeah, that was a bad time. I recently watched I was going through some old VHS tapes and I watched a bunch of WCW Saturday nights, and I really enjoyed them. So to me, WCW was much more entertaining than WWE. Although, also in reviewing this, I did notice WWE went to Detroit in the fall of '93 and only had like 1,800 fans, which is pretty bad for Detroit. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. Wish everyone a great Saturday night. For everyone watching this instead of Collision and Impact Bound for Glory, thank you.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match